Welcome to the Printer's Edge with LaManna, a podcast about how to sell, buy, or build a printing business. Now here are your hosts, LaManna and Ken Okel.
Welcome to the Printer's Edge podcast, presented by the LaManna Alliance. Hi, I'm Ken Okel. So glad to have you back. Want to always remind you, the Printer's Edge podcast is on iTunes, so you can catch up if you've missed an episode. Also, we recently have put our episodes on YouTube because I know some of you were asking to listen there. Joining me as always for this episode is the man, that business connector, that printing industry expert, Mr. Rock LaManna. How you doing, Rock?
Doing great, Ken.
Rock, today we got a good one. We picked the topic about what's the best deal you've ever had. You've got it today, and it's very timely for this time of year.
It sure is, Ken. Recently, there's been a lot of involvement with family, and Father's Day is right around the corner. And some of the questions that come to mind from my clients and so on is, Rock, what's the best deal you've ever done?
Sure.
And to be honest with you, I have to go back close to 30 years ago, and that had to do with my father. As we approach Father's Day, it's important to me to reflect on some of the best deals I've done. I got to give you a little background on the situation. Sure. I'm one of 11 children. My parents are still alive. Carlo, 91. My mother, Virginia, is at 90 years old.
Excellent.
The 11 kids, we're all alive. And tremendous amount of offspring. In fact, the last 45 days of this year, 3 babies, 3 great grandchildren have been born. And we're talking about grandchildren of close to 50 and an additional 50. So we're talking about close to 100 offspring. So this is pretty exciting about family. We all get together, talk family and talk business and so on. Our background is a printing business. And the printing business is eventually all 11 of us shared in that growth of our company, and then eventually we did, as a family, sell the business. And that was a very interesting approach because that was our first deal.
Really? Okay.
Our own deal, which was really a succession discussion where I had an opportunity to buy the business. When I look back, it really did not evolve the way we expected between my father and I. To look back, I'm sitting there thinking, okay, how did this all evolve? And after about 15 years, building the business, developing the relationship, our relationship with our client base was very innovative back in the day. We're talking about the 70s. I started at Vomella Specialty back in 1975 or so.
Okay.
And we started talking about succession in about 85. So my father was early 60s. Tremendous relationship with Mr. Vomella. He bought Mr. Vomella out eventually. So that was the succession plan. And then my father and I started talking about myself acquiring the business so he could retire to Florida along with my mother. And so that was a process that I was inherited with. So I had to put the deal together.
And just set up, what type of a business was this?
The business was a converting operation that included letterpress printing, screen printing. We had wide format digital printing, initial stages working with 3M. With this, we were developing not only the processes, but the equipment, the inks, and so on. So we were a beta site located in St. Paul, Minnesota. We initiated a lot of the innovative processes and products for 3M at the time, so we were very profitable. Gross margins that you probably haven't heard of, we were talking about 70 to 85% gross margins. They were tremendous.
Very good.
Tremendous business. Our EBITDA was off the charts, and so everything was great, And we actually put a story together. You could go on my website and track it down. It's a publication called A Simple Giant of Our Industry. We'll give you more of the history of my father and Mr. Vomella and 3M, which in a way I inherited those relationships. moving forward here, things were going great. We were growing. We were going CAD/CAM. We invested a tremendous amount of capital into people, into new technologies, new processes, trade secrets. We had a lot going on. And then my father just said, Rock, it's time. It's time. That's how easy it was. It was time, and are you interested in buying the business? And of course I was. How do we do it? That was really the question. And my father didn't really care. His deal was, go do it. If you want it, go do it. I had a lot of friends, a lot of contacts. I was attending Harvard Business School, so I learned a lot from my classmates on how to acquire businesses, how to look at succession. We had an attorney in my class that developed a purchase or letter of interest and a purchase agreement together. So we tried to put it all together in a way simply at the time. My father had an attorney, I had an attorney, and then something dramatic happened.
Dun, dun, dun.
Well, I went through a divorce.
Okay.
So everything was put on hold. Going through the unexpected, uncontrollable situation. So it was a new strategy. And the first thing is, my father lost trust. He lost trust in the fact that this is going to be difficult. His attorney recommendation was sell to a third party. Whoa! Big concern of mine. At the same time, I had no access to the opportunity to acquire the business because the attorneys and my father's advisors said, hey, listen, let's go to the market, see what happens. If Rock wants to be involved, no problem, but Rock's on his own. Wow. Big changes because I had my own team of advisors and investors that I worked with for close to 10 years, turning around the business, building the business, investing in the business, and hopefully it would have been a partnership of 3 other non-family members to acquire the business.
Okay.
Let's fast forward this. That started in 88.
Okay.
We closed in 90 with a lot of different ups and downs. 2 or 3 outside acquirers, interested parties, 3 letter of intents, and my father gave me the opportunity to buy it with an angel. And that angel trusted the situation, trusted me, and to continue the growth of the business. But let's face it, I was going through a traumatic time in my life. Very emotional, uncontrollable. Financially, I had to reassess everything until after the divorce. And 3 children, so I was going through this whole process of support in parenting. And that was very difficult. So during this time, 24 months to 36 months, we had to go through this whole assessment. And that included CPAs. It included tax lawyers. It included lawyers. It included my investor, including financial banking institutions. It was very, very emotional, but at the same time, it had to be very professional, very rational, very logical. My management team got involved and didn't like what was happening because I had to bring an outsider in, a passive investor that wanted to bring its family members in as part of the deal to help manage a business. So even though it was very difficult and it took months of twists and turns, eventually it all worked out. So let's say that's 1990. So during that process, within the first 36 months, we were back on track. We're all back at work. And the reason why I think it was the best opportunity, and that's why I celebrate Father's Day and just this time of the year, is the appreciation and the opportunity that my father and my family gave me to not only acquire the business, learn from others, learn the process. So at this time of my career, let's fast forward to 20, 25 years of doing deals. I've seen more or less everything. okay? And so when I see both the buyer and the seller, I see the family dynamics. I see the financial aspect of it. I see the strategic aspect of it. I see the reason for legal counsel. I see it all. I see it all. And what makes this deal the best deal that I've ever done is not only that we got through it, we finished it, we succeeded. And today, I actually turned around and sold the business a few years later to my past partner that is now the owner of O'Malley's Specialty after 27 years. And I'm proud of that. My family members are still there. The new owner, has family in their business. They're very successful at close to $250 million in sales. I'm very close to them when it comes down to offering opportunities to help them grow their business. Why is that? Is because I know things get done. Things get done. Things are done professionally. Things are transitioned and transformed to strategic buyers that continue to grow the businesses and so on. So when I go back and I look at the situation of how I was mentored and how I had the opportunity to make something happen, that's good for everyone. And that's why I'm such a big believer in win-win situations. And so I want to go on record. My father realizes it, but when we go back 20 plus years, it might not have been a big impact for him. But you know what's interesting about my father is he never looked back at this deal.
Interesting.
He never looked back. And I remember in Florida, I spent a few minutes with him overlooking the ocean, and while he's smoking a cigar, I said, Dad, why did you sell the business the way you did? And it took me 20 years to ask him that question. And he says, I just didn't want to compete anymore. And it was interesting because he saw the changes in the industry. He saw the competition. He saw the fact that gross margins were going to get tighter and tighter. And he just didn't want to compete in that situation. He did his duty after 40 plus years of working with others and building his business and really achieving what he wanted to achieve. He goes back to, it was time. And so that's what I feel when I see other potential sellers. I ask them a reason why they're disciplined and convinced. Are they really convinced that this is what they want to do? Because I would have to say at least half of my deals fall apart because of the emotional change. And when that time comes, when the decision is to sell their baby after 40 years, they just can't let go.
Great story, Rock. And especially at this time of year, it's important for all of us to think about the lessons taught to us by our fathers. So tell me, what else is happening in your world?
It's interesting because many of my clients are in the 65 plus range. And recently, a friend of my father's approached me and looked at our story because he knows our story. And he said, Rock, I want to do what you and your father did. I want to sell the business. And my first response is, well, who's involved? You have a family business, family member. Yes, I do. I have a daughter in the business, but I don't want to pass it on to her. I said, oh. Well, that's different. So in other words, you want to sell your business. Yes, I want to sell my business. And there's multiple reasons why I want to sell, but most of it is because of estate planning. I'm in my 70s and I want to move forward and get my estate in position with an attorney. And I said, oh, hold it. You have no attorney? No, I have no attorney, no estate. I said, that's number one. Once you get your estate planner, call me back. Okay. 60 days later, I get a call. Rock, the best advice you've given me is to get an estate planner. I said, great. You're on your way. Well, my first step, according to the estate planner, is to hire you. Oh, really? I'm honored. Why is that? Well, Rock, I trust your father. I trust you. you're in the industry, you know people. You could refer me to someone. I said, yeah, I can do that. Okay. I'm willing to do it. So let's put something together. So we put an agreement together. It took over 18 months. That's how difficult it was to work with this potential seller. We finally got it into an agreement. When we talk about deals that were honorable and great and, in a way, pleasantly unexpected, such as my father's deal, even though it was hard because it was, we expected love and entitlement and family to make it a smooth transition. It's not that way. And in this case, I really felt my belief was going to be that a potential buyer is going to have a really tough time working with this seller. And that's what I discovered, that it was very difficult. Even though the original intent was to sell the business and do the right thing in succession for the estate, for the family, for the employees, for everyone, it did not work out that way. And at this situation, I feel sad that they did not achieve their goals.
And if people would like to see maybe what businesses are available that you're involved with, they go to your website, which is
RockLaManna.com,
and that's RockLamanna.com. And on the website, you'll see businesses currently for sale, potential buyers if you're considering selling. These are the type of searches that we do for people. I also have a blog that informs people of educational and informative information. You could also go on LN&W and subscribe to that. So there's a lot of information, content information that we pass on a monthly basis, along with a monthly newsletter that gives you up-to-date opportunities to contact me for a direct, discreet consultation.
Great resources. And if someone wants to find out more about me, my name is Ken Okel. I'm a professional speaker who helps people improve their productivity under pressure. I wrote a book. The book is called Stuck on Yellow. You can find out about all this stuff, see my speaking presentations at my website, KENOKEL.com. Well, that'll do it for this episode. So, Rock, as we always say as we sign off, see you in the marketplace.
This is The Prince's Edge with Rock LaManna. Thanks for listening.